Hey guys, this is Joe from Analog Archive, back with another video. Hasn't been too long since my last video, just about maybe 2 weeks. But I wanted to get on quickly to talk about this great jazz collection that I had the opportunity to go through recently. A friend of mine told me about this collection that was not far from where I was. I found some great stuff. A lot of stuff, more FMP stuff. It's been a little bit since I've talked about a lot of that. It's really, I've kind of come up dry, especially when it comes to finding stuff in person. FMP-wise, it's been a while since I found a lot. Had to really resort to Discogs, but was very happy to find some of them. So this one, first one, this is anti-clockwise. This is Alex von Schlippenbach Quartet. This is from 1982. You've got Schlippenbach piano, Evan Parker soprano, saxophone Alan Silva, bass, and then Paul Lovins is on the drums. This is originally Schlippenbach was part of, he had a kind of a trio, and it was Evan Parker on soprano, and then Paul Lovins on the drums. And then when you got into the early to mid 80s, they incorporated Alan Silva on the bass, so that's what you kind of see here. This is from Berlin, live recording, again on FMP. I've talked about, so this one had this North Country distributor sticker on it, not super far from actually where I live, so it's cool to always find those stickers on the back and be able to kind of think about the fact that this area was really just in the know when it came to these great free jazz recordings from Europe. So this was one that I was looking for. Had it actually in my Discogs cart, but just wasn't pulling the trigger. Must have been kind of meant to be to wait for a copy in person. This is another one that was a similar one. This is called Messer. It is Irene Schweizer, the pianist. Had a few albums, late 70s, early 80s on FMP / she might have had some that might have been on SAJ as well, but she had a great partnership with Rudiger Karl, who was also on this one. So he plays alto, tenor sax, and clarinet, and Irene Schweizer piano, and then Louis Maholo, the great drummer, is on this as well. This is from 1975, so it was recorded December 75. It was recorded two different dates, May of 75, December of 75, and then it came out the next year, 76. This one had been on my radar since last summer. Brandon, Faust in the Head on Instagram, had talked about the fact that he found this one in Buffalo, and was intrigued by this one. Again, this was similar to the anti-clockwise one that was in my cart for a bit, but another FMP one. Very happy to have found that one in the bins. Wouldn't be free jazz, especially FMP, without finding more Peter Brötzmann. I found 2 sessions. It just so happened to be that this guy had, I think he had maybe 4 or 5 Brötzmann sessions, and 2 of them were ones that I actually didn't have. First one is Go No Go. This is a duo, Peter Brötzmann. He plays on this one tenor, baritone, sax, teragato, and then you've got Alfred Harth, another free jazz saxophonist. He's on alto and tenor sax. So just a duo, kind of reeds. But streamed this one as much as I could. There wasn't a lot available, but with this one, it was great. Just duo saxophones. So that was, again, a big FMP Peter Brötzmann one. And then this one is probably the biggest one from what I was able to find. This one has been one of the last, one of the last few Peter Brötzmann ones that I was really looking for. This is opened but hardly touched. This is a trio. You've got Peter Brötzmann. This one, it doesn't say on the front or on the back like it usually does. You've got Peter Brötzmann, E-flat, clarinet, teragato, alto, tenor, baritone, sax, so it's a little bit larger set of instruments. Harry Miller's on the bass and Louis Maholo's on the drums. This was really the first group that Brotzman worked with once he kind of went his separate ways from Han Benek and Fred Van Hove, the pianist. So when they kind of went separate ways around 76, 77, he made a few albums with Harry Miller and Louis Maholo. So this is actually a 2 LP. This is, I think, the only FMP 2 LP Brotzman session that I'm aware of. But yeah, slowly closing in and having all of the Brotzman FMPs. I think I need like 4 or 5 of them left out of there's probably at least 10, 12, maybe closer to 15 sessions that he had between like 67 and like 80, 87, 88. So pretty prolific with that. And then this was the one I mentioned at the beginning. I was not familiar with. The gentleman that was selling them was let me know that he thought that this one would be kind of up my alley. This is called Solar Plexus. And it's a duo, Bobby Burry and Urs Limegruber. You've got Bobby Burry is on the bass, and then Urs Limegruber, soprano, tenor, bass saxophone, and then wooden flute. This is from 1983 in Lucerne, so in France. But yeah, this is just, yeah, early 80s free jazz. A lot of space for this just being a duo, and especially since there's no percussion, there's a lot of, yeah, kind of open space to really improvise. So this one was a great one as well. Didn't know about that one, but it was a nice one to kind of add to what I found. So those were the ones that I found. So I was able to find a lot of great stuff. It was very overwhelming, as I mentioned. A lot of stuff to go through. There was a lot of stuff I wasn't really super familiar with either. And so it was great to be able to find things that I was looking for, especially the FMP stuff. So that was a great kind of connection. Appreciate my friend for kind of hooking me up with this, and I hope again that I will be able to go back and find some more so that I can kind of show you guys what it is. But that's the first part. And then there's a few finds that I had recently. So for my recent finds, I talked about this artist last month and kind of continued to go down the rabbit hole. It all started with this album. I got this a few months ago at the Syracuse Record Fair. This is Junction, Andrew Surreal, and it featured David S. Ware on the saxophone. And so that was kind of my introduction to David S. Ware. Wasn't really able to find much in stores in terms of his stuff. He really did not have a very expansive career, especially in terms of LPs. I think there was only maybe 5 or 6 records that he had total that actually were LPs. The rest of them very prolific in like the late 80s through the 90s and the 2000s on CD. So there's a handful, probably 15, 20, 25 plus different albums that were just on CD. But LP wise, really a very small catalog. I had shown last month one of his albums. It was called Passage to Music. That's actually the last album that he did on LP before he moved into the more kind of CD format. And then in like the mid 2000s, he had a few records. I think like 2 records that were back on LP again. So few recent finds. This one came from a seller out of Japan on Discogs. This is David S. Ware, Birth of a Being. This is actually his first record as a leader. It was recorded in 1977, but it didn't come out until 1979. He did have another record that I still haven't found that was on the Palm label out of France. That one's going to probably be a pretty tough one to find, but this was his first record. So he's on tenor sax. Gene Y. Ashton is on piano, and Mark D. Edwards is on the drums. Gene Ashton ended up becoming Cooper Moore, who actually he played with, I think, in like the 2000s, maybe late 90s or into the 2000s. But his original name, I think that's actually what his name was, Gene Ashton. Changed it at some point in the 80s or 90s to Cooper Moore, but this is again under his original name. So yeah, this is from 1977. You've got four tracks, all 10 minutes plus. This is on the amazing Hat Hut Records label out of Switzerland. I've had really great success with these. If you ever see Hat Hut, a lot of them are avant-garde, free jazz type stuff, but the sound quality, the fidelity is absolutely incredible. You're never going to really, I've never heard any record that doesn't sound good, even live sessions. So, yeah, this one's, from 1977, came out in 79. That was his first record. And then the other one that I picked up maybe 2 weeks ago, this is one of his more recent ones, more recent being like the last 15 years. This was recorded in Vilnius in Lithuania, and it came out on the No Business Records label, which is also in Lithuania. This is one of the early records on the label. This is LP number 4/5. This came out in 2009, but the recording was 2007. Limited to 1,000 copies. So you've got David S. Ware tenor sax, Matthew Shipp piano, William Parker bass, and Guillermo E. Brown is on the drums. That was the most kind of used or most prolific arrangement of players that he kind of used in the late 90s into the 2000s. Matthew Shipp piano. William Parker, more I collect free jazz stuff, the more prolific he really is. He's on so many albums and quite a few Peter Brotzman sessions, and he seems to be almost like a more modern day Ron Carter. I keep seeing him on a lot of sessions, but yeah, the rhythm section of Matthew Shipp, William Parker, Guillermo E. Brown was the one that worked with David S. Ware probably for the largest amount of time, probably about a 15-year period or so. But yeah, this is a 2 LP. Very excited to have found this one. I haven't had a chance to listen to this, but very intense free jazz. His approach is very direct. It's not as harsh as what you hear from, again, like Peter Brotzman or a lot of these like Albert Eiler, guys like that from kind of the 70s. It's more just energetic really throughout. Really does not have a lot of like kind of dead noise, very like down kind of tempo stuff. It's very upbeat. And it also, there's a lot of him on the tracks. These songs will be 10 minutes plus, and of the 10 minutes, he's playing for 6 or 7 minutes. So very extensive playing by him, but I was very excited to have found those. Both of those were from Discogs. And then recent trip to Rochester, I found 2 CDs that were his, as I mentioned at the beginning. Had a lot of albums that came out on CD. So the first one, chronologically, this one is called Cryptology. This is from 1994. You've got Matthew Shipp, piano. Whit Dickey is on the drums, and William Parker is on the bass. So aside from the drummer, Whit Dickey, it's the same kind of rhythm section as what you saw. So again, played with those guys for quite a bit. So this was from 94, came out in 95. It's on the Homestead Records label. He had a few different record labels. Homestead, there's record label called AUM Fidelity, that he had a lot of records in late 90s into the probably late 2000s, even into the 2010s. And then this one really caught my kind of eye. The cover is really great on this. Get rid of some of the glare. It's going to be tough. But yeah, this is called Surrendered. This is a quartet. It has the same exact lineup as what you saw for the live in Vilnius. So yeah, David S. Ware tenor sax, Matthew Shipp piano, William Parker bass, Guillermo E. Brown is on the drums. This was recorded in '99, came out in 2000s. This is on Columbia, both real cheap. So I found that really, especially for him having a lot of records on CD, or a lot of music on CD, that if I want to find his stuff, that's what I'm going to have to go to. But yeah, very excited to have found those. Not a whole lot of other recent finds, but yeah, some great stuff. So was very excited as we're getting into the summer. Hope to have the opportunity. I'll be going to New York City at the beginning of July, so I'm excited to see what I can find there. That'll be the first time digging for records in New York City, so that's going to be a big thing. But yeah, thank you again for the continued support. If you have not already, please think about liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next vinyl video. Bye.